guess are we any closer to a schedule resolution in terms of rugby championship?
We've got 2 bleds coming up. Pretty excited about that. The rest still working on.
Given you don't have to quarantine in Australia now, are you still taking the extra players, or is it just the team you've got here now?
Oh, look, at the moment there's clearly that might change how many and when. But again, once we get certainty on that draw, we'll make that call. So until then, it's what we do know is certain is that we've got a test here in Wellington, another one in Auckland, and after that we're travelling to Australia. So that's all we're focusing on.
And that third Bledisloe test that's going to be in Australia, are you pushing for that to be that midweek still? Or?
Oh, I think I just answered that question.
Just on personnel, Fozzie, a couple of guys come into the camp as it was announced this morning. Can you just run us through them and Nani's fitness, for example, with his arm? Is he back to 100?
No, he's not back to 100. So he's just in just a regulation check-up time, and so he's going to train with us for a couple of days. We're in Wellington; it's easy for him. He gets another specialist view later this week, early next week, and then we'll make our plan accordingly. But he's training well. But a bone's a bone, isn't it? So the determination will be after he sees the specialist and we see the X-rays and see where we go from there. And in the meantime, with him not being right to play yet, we've just brought Peter Umaga Jensen into for Tuesday, Wednesday, just to get him involved and have a look at him. I think that's all, is it? Was there anyone else?
No, that's it.
Just in terms of the Wallabies, how hard is it to sort of get a gauge of where they're at, given it's been so long since we've played them in Super Rugby and in domestic competition?
Yeah, well, we've probably got the same difficulties that they've got with us, haven't they? But they've watched our domestic comp, we've watched their domestic comp. So from that side, we've both played a lot of rugby as from an individual perspective with their franchises the last 4 or 5 months, and so we've got that data, they've got ours. So from that stage, I think we're on a pretty even footing, but clearly you got 2 new coaching groups, and there's going to be a little bit of the unknown, and that's kind of makes it a huge test for both camps from that side.
In terms of this weekend, Bledisloe won obviously. What are the biggest, selection headaches for you getting into this first game?
Oh, we've got a pretty competitive squad. So we've got 35 players all pushing, and everyone's anxious to see what the pecking order's like fans are, I guess the media is, and but right now the good thing is we've just been trying to build this into a tight group. We know they're excited about the challenge coming up in front. The hardest part is probably holding them back a little bit, and once we get through today's training and have a look at a few things, we'll make some calls on that. But there's some tough decisions right across the board. I think we can all see that.
How nice is it to have a test match every week?
Oh, it's just amazing, isn't it? It's like I said, it's with everything going on, that the fact remains that this is the week that we've been waiting for a long, long time. And you've got some first-time head coaches. You've got, we've got people that we've been waiting for a long time. There's that natural desire to jump ahead and play the test today. So it's about just harnessing that energy and making sure we go out on the park, really clear and sort of just hungry and excited about being an All Black at home.
Has it felt normal to you? Have you got a sense of relief being back in camp and having something to do?
Yeah, I'm not sure I've had relief yet. I think we've certainly had excitement. There's no doubt about that. And you can imagine what it was like when we were all locked up at home for those weeks, and then when you got out, you just wanted to do everything. And I guess the boys and us as coaches are exactly the same. We're finally here. We've waited a long time, and getting this week right and taking a day at a time is going to be important.
Do you have to rein them in as a coach as well? The players are obviously very excited, but as a coach, do you have to kind of keep yourself?
Yep. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. There's no doubt that coaches are no different to players, and with Brad and Fiki and Plum all been here for the first time, and me and my role, it's making sure that we're really clear on what we think is critical for us, and just focus on that and not try to fill all the spaces during the week.
Fozzie, is Dane Colts fit?
Yep.
So he's in contention for the 23 on?
Yes, he is.
Was there any reason for not getting a run for Wellington last week?
Yep, because he wasn't fit enough. He's had excuse me. He's basically had a pretty significant calf injury, and so last week was the first week that he went back into a fully loaded situation on the latter part of the week, and so we loaded him up as we'd do with any return to play, and gave him the weekend to see what he come out like, and he turned up yesterday in great shape. So the signs are good for him to have a full training week this week.
It's the whole squad available for selection that you've got,
Apart from Nani, yep.
Ozzy, I know you won't spend too much time trying to do Dave Rennie's job for him, but if you were eyeing up as an opposition coach, what sort of 23 the Wallabies might put forward? Is this the sort of the toughest it's been for you to maybe pinpoint exactly which way they'll likely go?
Well, I'm going to spend no time trying to do his job, and I'm sure he's going to spend no time trying to do my job. We just got to second guess, but it's like if you try to get too smart in that space, then we're going to spend all week worrying about things we can't control. So, do we have an idea? Well, we can second guess, but I think what's more important is us second guessing how we think they're going to play, not necessarily who's on the park. And so what sort of things are they after? You've got, like I said, they've got a new coaching group. They've got a bit of the English background, a bit of Scottish background, and a bit of Kiwi background. So it's an unusual mix for an Australian team. So we've just got to try and figure that out.
On that coaching group, I think everyone there has had experience in the Northern Hemisphere and recent experience as well. Does that mean it will be a different looking Australian team, you think?
Yeah, you ask them that. Seriously, it's we can only. We've got an idea where we think they'll progress their game, and we'll find out same time as you.
You mentioned the pecking order before. Considering you've been with so many of these players, how clean a slate is it for the entire group here, to make a pecking order for yourselves?
Oh, it's a clean slate. It always is. It's hard to explain to people, but when you're in the All Blacks, every week's a clean slate. You got to perform here, and so there are players that have been here a while, I guess, that I've got a lot of knowledge and experience with that, they've got that to fall back on. But, really for us, it's about who's performing well right now that we think can do a job right now. And, like I've said previously, we've got a great blend in this team. There's a lot of experience in this team, but there's also a lot of newness. And so how we blend that to generate some energy in this group is going to be key.
Traditionally, coming into the first test of the year in July, All Blacks can be a little bit rusty and get better over time. Having had to wait longer, do you expect that to be true, or do you think the time that you've had prior to this will enable you to come in firing?
Yeah, well, it's not July, is it? So that's one thing we can hang our hat on. And, I think July is, historically has been, we've played Super Rugby right up to it. We've got players that are coming in battered and bruised, and so I think all the Southern Hemisphere teams in the old calendar have struggled a little bit in July. So, and then we generally used to build through that. This year is very different, isn't it? So, whilst it's been delayed, both camps have had a chance to have full domestic competitions. We've had plenty of time to get organised. So, will it be rusty? Of course it will, because you'll be trying new things under intense pressure and a little bit of the unknown, but we can't complain about not having time to prepare.
Well, most rugby fans in the country obviously are looking at that number 10 spot. Do you guys know who's playing 10 this weekend yet, or is it still up for grabs?
No, I know who's playing 10. Yep.
How long have you had your starting 15 in your head?
Probably this morning. Smoked to Foxy and spoke to Plum and had a little chat.
So it has been it's been quite a long time sorting out.
Yeah, look, it's I'll probably spend less time focusing on the 15 than what people think. Like you're focusing on your squad, and the last 2 weeks about getting, a squad of 35 all on the same page, and so you're trying to grow so that everyone's really clear about the roles, so that when they do come in, it's seamless. That's our goal. And so the one thing we don't do is we don't go and declare our hand, and we don't make our mind up too early, because how people learn and the speed that they're at in their whole situation are all the things you chuck into the selection mode. So, we clearly have an idea, but we don't finalise anything until this morning.
Well, just back to Peter Mangi Jensen, we obviously saw him in that North vs South game. What is it about his game and what he brings that you guys like?
Oh, I thought in the second part of Super Rugby Aotearoa, he really had a massive desire to play. He was strong, ball in hand. He ran some great lines, and and he beat some very good defenders. Like I think Jack and Albie both found him quite a handful. With some of the lines he ran, and we've seen a real attitude with his work rate. He's grown in his defence, so he's a young guy who's had sort of a lot of potential when he came out of school, and then probably plateaued a little bit. But I think he's now learning what it is to work hard and to be a little bit more professional off the park. And I think the Hurricanes have done a great job in that space, and what we saw now when he had opportunity is someone who's ready to go. So that's the kind of energy we wanted him to bring in here.
And I know it's only been obviously a few hours just today, but how has he been sort of settling into this environment?
Yeah, well, it's only been a few hours, so I actually can't answer that question really, but he's got a smile on his face, so that's a good place to start.
You anticipated playing for Wellington on the weekend?
We'll see.
You get no call any of the other fringe guys who might.
Yeah, we have, but there's just a couple of injuries we've got to check up on, but we've got a squad getting ready for 2 tests, and that's been our priority.
How's Scott Barrett, Ian?
Scott Barrett's really good. He's in here all week. He got through, a little bit like Colsey last week. He got through a return to play process that we had, and he started. He's not scrummaging fully or anything like that yet, so he's still got a little way to go. But he got through some light scenarios in that space. He's feeling good, so this week's about just add another layer onto that, and then we'll make that assessment later in the week about where exactly he's at, so, and how far away he is, but it's looking pretty close.
Anything else?